Are you thinking about moving to the Mid-Willamette area? I've got 4 cities that I'm going to talk about today that are often grouped together in discussions. This is going to consist of Corvallis, Albany, Lebanon, and Philomath. I hope that me discussing and sharing a little bit about these cities will help you decide if one of these might be the right one for you if you want to move to this area. Hey, I'm Tyler Thomas here with EXP Realty. I'm a local realtor here in the Mid-Willamette area. I've lived in this area for most of my life. I grew up in Philomath, and I've actually lived in 3 of these 4 cities that I'll be discussing today. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in our great area, I hope that this video, as well as my channel, provides you some great information. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and give this video a like if in the end you find it helpful. So here we go. Let's get into discussing these 4 different cities. First off is going to be Corvallis. Corvallis, home of Oregon State University, is a town of nearly 60,000 people. Now, previously, it has always been known as the best college town in the Pac-12, which now, you know. Corvallis is the biggest city in Benton County, right along the Willamette River. The total population definitely fluctuates throughout the year. When the college students are in town, you feel the full 60,000 people. During summer, when most of the students are gone, the city feels like it's half its population. During the summer, there's definitely much less traffic around town. You can feel like you can get around a little bit easier. Oftentimes also, shopping is going to be a little easier in some areas. Locals definitely understand this. It's pretty much viewed as school time Corvallis and summer Corvallis. One thing I find great is the city actually is ranked very high in national rankings. So right now I'm going to name just a few. You've got number 1 safest town in 2018 by ADT. Second friendliest college town in the nation in 2016. Number 3 top 100 places to live in 2018. Number 17 best small places for businesses and careers in 2020. Number 5 most beautiful college towns in America in 2017. And number 4 best college town in America in 2014. Corvallis as a whole is very educated. There's a lot of tech and educators around the city, so there's just a wealth of knowledge everywhere. HP and Samaritan Health Services account for a lot of the employment in town. HP's basically got first dibs on all the students that are graduating from OSU, so there'll be a lot of people that will graduate from OSU and then just go right into HP and stay in town. The Corvallis School District always ranks very highly. It's often talked about in different news articles and different stations throughout the year. In the description below, I have a link to niche.com that will have information about the district. So you can go ahead and click on the link. You can look at the different grades of the schools, see where they are, and just get all the information you want. The 2 high schools in the area are Crescent Valley and Corvallis High School, and there's definitely a good rivalry going in town. Like I said, Corvallis is home to Oregon State University, and that comes with everything there is with being a college town. The Beavers always have a ton of support from the community. It's a huge thing in Corvallis to always go to games, plays, just anything there is the college goes and has. People will show up to it. There's been a ton of upgrades in the last couple years to almost every athletic field. I'm really happy that we finally got a really good track and field complex. The grandstands in the football stadium have all been redone. Also, the baseball stadium has been a bit redone lately, and it's just awesome to go there. You also have, during the summertime, you can go watch some Knights baseball. Corvallis is definitely a green city with an emphasis on biking, healthy restaurant options, as well as shopping options. There's a ton of green spaces and parks in town. The city actually does an extremely good job of maintaining these parks. I always feel like everything in town, most of these parks are very well kept and clean. You really don't have a whole lot of problems. Everything also seems to be fairly good working order. Sometimes you go to a park and there's things that are just broken. I really haven't encountered that when I take my kids to every park. I've actually got a video I just completed the other day showing what all the parks in the city are. So you can go ahead and look at that video. So every park that has a playground, I went and video it with my kids just because I feel like for especially kind of families or people that have kids that might want to move here, I think it's important to kind of see where parks are in town. So there is that option if you want to go look at it. Corvallis is a very bike-friendly city, and they made it to where you can get around town very easy. The transit system is also very good, and the best of all, it's free. And all the buses actually do have a little arm on the front, so you can be able to put your bike on it. So if you're just exhausted and you want to get up out of town, you can toss your bike on there and just hop on the bus. In town, we've got some pretty strict urban growth boundaries, so there's not a lot of expansion going on. We don't really see a lot of big sprawling neighborhoods. We've got pretty low inventory in town, so that definitely just kind of keeps the prices of these homes higher. So with Corvallis being compared to some of these surrounding areas, it is definitely seen as being one of the most expensive options. The neighborhoods in town are all pretty well defined, and each of them has definitely their own kind of character. There are some smaller little shopping areas sprinkled throughout town. Also, it kind of feels like almost every neighborhood has its own little park, so the city definitely has its own little sense of community throughout the area. Corvallis' shopping definitely kind of has more of a little smaller boutique kind of vibe. The city really tries to avoid letting any really big box store coming in, for better or worse. Along 9th Street, there has been quite a few different shops that have gone in, kind of bigger stores that have gone in. We do have things like Michael's, Fred Meyer, TJ Maxx, Trader Joe's, Market of Choice. Downtown is definitely where it's more of a little boutique vibe. You've got a bunch of different bars, restaurants, a few bike shops, and also some furniture stores. We've also got a few other stores that have also come to town recently. One we lost is Kmart. So now you've got in that building a Coastal Farms, and next door you've got a Wilco. So that kind of confuses a lot of people. A lot of people from the area, if you're looking for bigger box stores, type of shopping, especially people that are looking for more type of bigger box clothing, will just go ahead and drive to Albany. Over there you've got the mall, so you've got like Target, Old Navy, you've also got Kohl's. You also got Costco over there. Right near OSU, you've got some more shopping options. It's definitely more geared toward the college crowd. That's kind of who will frequent that area. You've got some pretty good little restaurants there. You've got things like Clodfelter's also. Ball's Way Cafe is really popular. For the north you go, kind of northeast you go, you're going to have more of those family options. The next city I'm going to discuss, just west of Corvallis, is Philomath. Historically, Philomath has always been predominantly in the lumber industry. We've seen a lot of different lumber yards close over the years. We've still got a couple in town and one just outside of town. So there still is a few around there. There's just not nearly as much as there used to be. With Philomath being right next to Corvallis, as well as being about a 30-minute drive to Albany, a lot of people will live in Philomath and work in those other towns. You'll also see a fair amount of people that are going to be living in the Philomath area and commuting over to the coast. So mostly it's going to be like Newport. Now for me, Philomath is my hometown. I grew up there, went through the school systems, K to 12, and the schools is definitely a huge draw for everyone in the community. Its schools always rank extremely high in the state rankings, and they also have many extracurricular activities. There's things like forestry, robotics, culinary arts, just to name a few. I used to work in both the elementary and the high school, so I can definitely attest to how good these schools are. I still am involved in the district the last 11 years now, which seems ridiculous to me. I've been an assistant track and field and cross-country coach, so I'm still around. And athletics has always been very important. You'll see our teams come home with trophies, which seems like all the time. In 2012, we built a new high school, and middle school also had a lot of work done as well. We've got a primary school, which you're going to have a lot of the younger children. Kindergarten, I believe it's also first grade is in there, which is a also really top-notch school. Total population of Philomath is around 5,600 people, and that number is definitely still growing. Now with Philomath, it's definitely small growth. We've got 2 new apartment complexes that went in town, which I didn't really expect to really see that, but since Corvallis is essentially just budding up the town now, you've got those 2 new complexes, so there is some building going on. There's just not a lot. Kind of like Corvallis, the inventory is still not very high, so it kind of mirrors what the market is doing in Corvallis. So the prices in Philomath for the homes are pretty high. Philomath does have different housing options and price points. Your more affordable homes are kind of more in the center of town. The northwest side, you're going to have some more expensive homes, and to the east side of town, which goes by Neback Hill, those are also going to be more your expensive parts of town. So around the edges is where you're going to see more of the bigger homes, maybe some newer homes, as well as your more expensive, and just that kind of center part is where you're going to have more of the first-time home buyer, kind of more affordable homes. Surrounding Philomath is pretty much timberland and farmland. To the north and northwest sides, you're going to have mostly timber. To the south, you're pretty much going to have farms and little hobby farms. Heading west down Highway 20, just outside of town, a lot of options for bigger properties. Also heading down towards Alsea and Wallport, there's also a ton of options down there. So if you're looking for some bigger plots of land, those are some areas that you'll probably end up looking at. In July is our yearly Philomath Frolic and Rodeo, which is by far our city's biggest event. Now, what really sucks is a portion of the grandstands burnt down, but I've seen that we've definitely gotten some funds to fix it up and actually upgrade a fairly good amount of the stands. Seems pretty hard not to have a good view in Philomath. As you're heading into Philomath from Corvallis, you're pretty much going to head over a little hill, and as you get over it, you'll see Mary's Peak, which is just beautiful. As far as shopping goes, we do have some shopping in town. There's been a big push to try to get more businesses open. We've had more businesses actually opening as of late. There is a new project going on downtown, a streetscape and safety project. They're really trying to push the downtown area and get it kind of revitalized. We do have a lot of nice little shops downtown, as well as some really good restaurants. I actually had a video about top 5 things to do in town not long ago, where I kind of talk about some of these restaurants in town. So you can go ahead and check that out to kind of see what we've got. We've also got a great new brewery in town, as well as a wine cellar with all the wineries that we have in the area. So you're going to end up doing most of your bigger shopping kind of in the Corvallis area. We don't any longer in Philomath have a true grocery store. There is a Dollar General that some people will use for some part of their groceries, but if you're looking for a full grocery store, you're going to be going to Safeway just east of Philomath in Corvallis. Public transportation in Philomath has gotten a bit better the last couple of years. We now have the Philomath Connection, which is great for having that option as a small town. The bus will take you from Philomath to OSU as well as certain parts of Corvallis. Now we're going to talk about Albany. Located to the east of Corvallis, about 11 miles on the other side of the Willamette, is Albany. And Albany, unlike both Philomath and Corvallis, is in Lynn County. Corvallis and Philomath is in Benton County. Through Albany's history in manufacturing, also having the railroad, the highway going through it, I-5, also the Willamette for transportation, it earned the nickname of Oregon's Hub City. So like I said, separating Corvallis and Albany, although 11 miles apart, is the Willamette River. No matter what, you need to cross this river to get from Benton County to Lynn County. Now, whether you're going to be heading down Highway 34, kind of traveling more from the downtown portion of Corvallis to Albany, or heading more of the north side, looping around, going on Highway 20, you're going to be crossing the river. Albany and Corvallis are actually pretty close in size. Albany has 57,000 people roughly, with Corvallis being roughly at 60,000. This puts Corvallis as the number 10 largest city in Oregon, and Albany is actually a surprising 11th. Albany's workforce is pretty heavy in agriculture and manufacturing. It also has a large amount in both the school systems, with LBCCV in there and all the schools, also in healthcare with the Albany Hospital and different health offices in town. Now with Albany, one thing is it's actually known as being the rare metal capital of the world, and it has some companies in the area that actually make these very rare metals. Albany is split in two by the Willamette River. You've got what's known as the North Albany section, which is everything north of the Willamette, and the Benton County section. You're going to have mostly residential area up there. You've got a little area for shopping. It's definitely grown over the last couple of years, but most everything you're going to do is, shopping-wise stuff, is going to be through the other side of Albany, which is going to be south of Willamette. North Albany now has a total population of around 11,000 people, and has definitely grown a ton over the last couple of years. There's been a lot of new neighborhoods going in, both on the northern and western sections of the town. You've got an elementary and middle school, both in the North Albany area, and they both got really good reputations, as a lot of the Benton County schools do. You can go ahead and check out the niche.com link in the description to go ahead and look at those schools as well. The two main high schools in Albany are both West Albany and South Albany. Both schools have actually had pretty big upgrades in the last couple of years. Albany is also home to LBCC, so Lynn Benton Community College, where a lot of people in the surrounding areas will go for community college. Popular also because of a partnership it has with Oregon State University, where you can be jointly admitted and take classes at both. As far as home prices go, there is quite a bit of a difference between the regular side of Albany, so everything south of Willamette, and North Albany. North Albany's home prices are definitely more on par with Corvallis Philomath, being in Benton County. The rest of Albany, so south of Willamette, is definitely cheaper. So for the rest of Albany, kind of that main Albany, you're going to be looking at roughly $50,000 to $100,000 cheaper than that North Albany section. Does depend on the neighborhood and everything, but when you end up looking at the median prices sold in both areas, that's kind of what it ends up being. Now, this does end up being a reason why a ton of people end up living in Albany and commuting to Corvallis, because those home prices, that's a pretty big change. For shopping, Albany definitely has quite a bit more shopping options than the other surrounding cities. A few of these are Costco, Target, we've got the mall right there, so also have Old Navy and Hobby Lobby, also have a Walmart and Fred Meyer. I still think that sometimes for the size of the city, we should have a few more options, but it is nice that we have the businesses that we do and that we don't have to always go to Salem for other things. Albany has been growing pretty well in the last couple of years. We've added a lot of apartment complexes in town. The northeastern part, they just added a whole area of apartment complexes as well as 2 new schools. In the south part of town, we also just added a brand new subdivision. There are still some plans to expand further east, so we just need to kind of see exactly how much more they're going to expand and kind of what's all going to be included in that. The historic downtown section of Albany has definitely in the last couple of years had a pretty big facelift. A lot of the businesses fixing up their outside areas, the city also putting a lot of money into the streetscape. So the roads, also a lot of lamps that were put in. It was pretty dang dark down there, kind of sketchy at times. Now it's very bright, so it's a lot better. The carousel was an amazing addition to the downtown area. My kid's favorite place to go. We've also got some really cool little antique stores, a lot of really good restaurants. We've got some really cool little pubs and breweries. Also down there, the park along the waterfront is getting completely renovated, so we're going to see how cool that is pretty soon. Pacific Boulevard kind of splits the city in two. Along it is pretty much where most of your shopping is going to be. So other than the mall area, a lot of that area is going to be kind of small, kind of like little strip mall areas, little mom and pop stores. So along Fred Meyer, Bimart, the mall area, kind of right in the center, is where you're going to be more of your really big stores. And then that northeast section is where you're going to have Costco and Kohl's and Winco. As far as transportation in town, we do have the railway. So if you're looking to ride a train, get on the Amtrak, there is that option, and it's pretty cool to just go down there and see the trains. My kids love doing that. Also down there is where you're also going to have the public transportation. The city does now and has been growing a bus route and everything, which has been really nice. Didn't all that long ago that they added it. I feel like I just never really saw any buses around at all. Starting to see them more. I think we have 4 routes in town now. It's also fareless. So I think it's Monday to Friday most of the day. People can ride the bus now. Now on to the last city I'm going to discuss, which is Lebanon. To the east of Albany by 15 miles is Lebanon, a city of roughly 19,000 people. Both Highway 20 and 34 end up coming to Lebanon, so it actually is a good place for commuting and reaching other areas. Getting to I-5 or just getting out of town, heading west, takes about 15 minutes. The South Sandium River is a big draw of people in the area. It's right on the eastern part of town. It's popular for things like fishing, kayaking, swimming. On the eastern side of the South Sandium is where you're going to find a lot of larger lots and stuff for homes and just land. Most of it's going to end up being timber. To the west of Lebanon is where it's going to be pretty much just flat. You're going to have a lot of bigger farms as well as hobby farms. You're going to see a lot of grass seed farms. Lynn County is the grass seed capital of the world. So throughout Albany and Lebanon, and throughout all that, you're going to see a lot of grass seed farms. Lebanon has a kind of a nice little grid set up, so you're going to have South Sandium Highway splitting the city in 2. You could also say that Airport Road and Russell Drive split the city in 2 from north to south. So when looking at the city as a whole, and especially when trying to decide what kind of a area might be right for you, it's pretty easy to just put it in this grid and then do your searches in that way. All of your shopping in town is pretty much also going to be along the South Sandium Highway. The downtown area has a lot of nice little shops in it. The residents of Lebanon have a lot of pride in the downtown with all these shops and the way they've upkept it. It just looks really good right now. There's a good variety of restaurants, and it really does kind of stretch the whole part of town, whether you're in the north section in the downtown area, kind of central towards Safeway, or even towards the southern, really southern part towards like Walmart. There is restaurants kind of all throughout. So just the way the city is kind of built, with it being kind of long and skinny, it doesn't really take a whole lot of work to get somewhere to get some food. One of the biggest draws for shopping in the area and from the other kind of smaller towns in the area is the Walmart, which for a long time was the only one in the area. It's pretty much always packed. A lot of people will do most of their shopping there if you're not looking for kind of like a smaller boutique setting. Also, other than Safeway, most everything is going to be done food-wise at the Walmart as well. Lebanon in some ways can be fairly specific with what its availability is for work. So if you kind of have a more specific job, you might be commuting, which isn't necessarily all that bad, as it is, close to I-5, as well as being pretty dang close to Albany and Corvallis. Some of the biggest employers in town are going to be Entech Manufacturing, Lebanon School District, the Good Samaritan Health Services, the Walmart, as well as a Lowe's distribution center. In Lebanon, you've got 10 schools total. You've got 1 high school, and then 9 others that are a mix of elementary, middle, and charter schools. With home prices in Lebanon, it is definitely the most affordable of everything we've talked about so far. The way it kind of goes in this area is you've got Corvallis and Philomath being most expensive, and then Albany a little bit lower, and then your least expensive is going to be Lebanon. So essentially how it is to the west is more expensive, and for the east you go is the cheaper it gets. Lebanon does have some public transportation. It's got Lynx dial-a-bus, so it's curb-to-curb public transportation within city limits. You've also got the Lynx Loop, which then goes north to south along the main part of town. You've also got now the Lynx Brownsville Connector, Brownsville being another town just to the southwest of Lebanon. Lebanon is sometimes lacking in some bigger type of entertainment stuff, but with Corvallis and Albany being nearby, it doesn't really matter. Lebanon definitely has a bit more kind of outdoors options than, say, Albany. You've got a lot more of the mountain ranges and everything nearby. You've also got a big thing in town is the Willamette Speedway. It's a 1/3 mile dirt racetrack, and it's extremely popular. There's a lot of races going on. It usually starts happening in mid-April. One of the city's biggest activities is the, now it's over 100 years, but the 100-year Strawberry Festival. There's a lot of people that go to that. It's always extremely busy in town when it's going on. Fishing, hunting, and hiking are all very popular in town. There's been a lot of new trails, I'm told, that have been also put in the pretty recent. So I'm actually looking forward to going over there and trying to check out some of these trails. Cheetah Lake is a big attraction. It's a big lake in town and a nice trail system around it. So people will do a lot of their activities there for picnics, just getting out and walking, being with the family. So that's it. Hope you learned a little bit about each town and kind of what they have to offer. The Mid-Willamette Valley is a really awesome area, and it does have a lot of options on where to live. These cities really aren't that far away from each other, so if one city doesn't really have what you're looking for, chances are there's going to be something nearby that does. If you have any kind of questions about these cities, specific questions about which one might best fit your needs, go ahead and reach out. I'll be glad to help. Again, I'm Tyler Thomas, EXP Realty, and if you're looking to buy, sell, invest in the Mid-Willamette Valley as well as the rest of the Willamette Valley, go ahead and reach out to me. I'll be glad to be your local resource for all real estate needs.